when it comes to feminism, right? Basically, what's went down, I'll quickly summarize this. Since the 1960s, right, with the sexual revolution, the invention of the birth control pill, and a bunch of other things, we've seen a rise in women wanted to be treated as equals, right? And women have pretty much forgone the family and prioritized education and entering the workforce. Open sexual liberation, and we thought, oh, this is going to be great. We're all going to get laid, and women are going to be able to make their own money, and we won't have to worry about supporting them, and it's not going to be as burdensome being a guy and taking care of a family. And quite frankly, the opposite has happened. We have some of the highest divorce rates, low marriage rates, low marital satisfaction. Both men and women are complaining about dating and how difficult it is. From the female perspective, they're having a tough time with finding a compatible partner. From the male perspective, just finding a partner is tough, right? That's why this whole term of incel is a thing nowadays versus, I guarantee you go back 50, 60 years, a common guy, a regular guy would be able to find a girl and get, do a date or have a date, get married and have a family and be able to support that family on one income. But now things have changed so much where, both parties are very unhappy with the other. And I think it's because we've kind of blurred the lines between the gender roles. Women are behaving more like men and men are behaving more like women. I'm sure a bunch of the ladies in here have probably been on a date with a guy before where he said, oh yeah, let's split it half and half. Or, hey, can you get this one and I'll get you back, but he never gets you back. Oh, I'll cash app you, Venmo you. He goes ghost. Or for men, you go out with a woman that, isn't really appreciative, not really feminine, not really nice, not pleasant to be around. She talks like a guy. She's very rude. She's very crass, right? She's fat, right? Let's be honest. A lot of fat women nowadays, too. Women don't really take care of their appearance like they used to. There's no shame. So I think both genders are kind of in a bad spot right now when it comes to women. Now, I tend to focus more, since I talk to men, on the problems from the female perspective, but I'd be lying to you guys if I didn't tell you guys that men aren't fucking up too, because they definitely are. But for men, the interesting thing is that the standards have pretty much been the same. Go to the gym, make money, become successful, become, someone that's a leader, competent. Like, it hasn't really changed so much for us. And the most important part, if you're a guy and you're a loser, you deal with consequences for that. Women don't date you. Other men don't let you into their circle. You get made fun of. You get called names, which is good, by the way. I'm a big proponent of bullying. I think bullying curbs a lot of problems and fixes society naturally. But on the female side, we don't correct bad female behavior, okay? If a woman is loud, obnoxious, fat, rude, no one really says anything, right? They say, oh, love your curves. Oh, they just can't handle you, right? We make all these excuses and cope for bad female behavior. And that's kind of where I come in. And I think we've done a good job over at Fresh and Fit, where we bring women from all different walks of life. People say, oh, well, you only bring OnlyFans girls. Well, that's just a percentage of the girls we bring in. We actually do bring a lot of college-educated young women that have careers. And what I've realized is, regardless of what they do for a profession, where they're from, background, etc., a lot of women are kind of poisoned by feminist ideology, right? And they'll still want a traditional guy. They'll want a guy that could pay the bills. They want a guy that could take care of them. But what is the guy getting in return? A loud, obnoxious woman that thinks that she can go ahead and compete with him on everything. So both genders have a problem. One is verbalized on the male side and they deal with consequences, but on the female side, it almost never happens. And I'd like to credit Fresh and Fit for bringing these women in, having these tough conversations, and just kind of seeing where their mind is at. And basically, for me to boil it down, it's this. Thanks to feminism, thanks to the internet, thanks to social media, etc., women have an abundance of options. Since they have an abundance of options, they base their value on what they think they deserve with a man on the amount of options that they have. But what they don't realize is the amount of men that contact you are not the same amount of men that are going to go ahead and get down on one knee. The men that you can attract sexually might not necessarily be the same men that you can attract from a marital perspective. And I think that's one of the biggest disconnects, where women conflate options with real viable marriage options. And what ends up happening is they get a taste of these guys at the higher level, maybe an NBA player, maybe a celebrity here or there. They might hook up with it. They might even see him for a month or two. But then they're not able to keep that guy. And I think a big reason for that is because of the bad behavior I mentioned before. But the thing with men is most guys are pussies. They're not going to tell women, hey, you're really annoying. Hey, you should probably stop that habit. Hey, that's not cool. Men don't tell women this stuff because, well, they don't want to get heckled like I did today, right? Men can't be honest with women. We just can't. And, I found it interesting how, as I was talking, I was looking out into the crowd, and I could see a lot of people nodding along, but they didn't want to necessarily speak up or clap or anything like that when I said something or made a point. But the people that were, more liberal, feminist, whatever, they were the loudest ones. And that's when I said, well, this is why Trump won the election and there was a silent majority, because people are tired of the woke ideology. People saying that there's 99 genders. Do I deserve more? Whatever. It's like, no, dude, you're a weirdo. Like, you know, it's like, look, if you want to go ahead and call yourself a woman when you're really a man, then that's your problem. We don't have to go ahead and buy into your fairy tale. It's weird. So, but that's kind of where we are now, where men can't be honest. We can't say what's really on our mind, and we can't really hold women to a standard and make them better. Because I truly do think we're at a point now where if a guy gets in a relationship with a girl, he's got to have very strong boundaries and be able to coach his woman to be the proper girlfriend for him and eventually a wife if she passes the test. But a lot of guys don't have the balls to do this because we're taught, oh, you accept her however she comes, right? They always tell you be a man, but we never tell women to be women, right? We never tell them, hey, be a lady. We just say, oh, okay, you behave however you want. And I'm kind of saying what everyone is thinking, right? And I got the numbers to back it up, that men simply don't see a lot of women as marriage material. Another thing that I've also noticed over the past couple of years is there's been an influx in the passport movement, in the passport bro movement. For those that are unaware, I'm sure the women might not know what I'm talking about here. The passport bro movement is a movement where a lot of guys basically go to foreign countries in South America, Africa, Eastern Asia, etc., and find themselves a partner. And I know some people might say, oh, wow, why are guys doing that? Are they desperate or whatever? Well, these are some of the places where, there's still some remnants of femininity, women that behave like ladies. And the thing is that men don't really care about a woman's education or status. Men are more concerned with a girl that's going to respect them, that follows their lead, that admires them, that obeys them, right? And I mean, one girl got triggered when I said obey. And I'm like, what, a guy can't give instruction to a woman? It's like, you want me to go ahead and pay the bills and take care of you, whatever, but you're not going to obey me? Like, that's ridiculous. That's slavery. Responsibility without authority is slavery. And I'll be damned if we're going to be slaves to bitches. No, So all I'm telling guys to do is really understand their worth and make women earn it. That's really what it is. And trust me, they'll respect you more for it anyway. So that's what's going on, where these guys are going to these other countries, and it's because Western women have become so insufferable and so difficult to deal with. And again, the numbers are on my side when it comes to this. This is why so many guys go to these different places. So with that said, can you still find great women in America? Of course, but it's just harder to find because feminism is permeated so strongly throughout society that a lot of women adopt these ideologies where she doesn't feel like she needs to submit to you. She doesn't feel like she needs to listen to you. She doesn't feel like she needs to adhere to her ladylike tendencies. Instead, she could behave however she wants, but she still expects you to be the man. If someone breaks into the house, you're supposed to go deal with it. If someone grabs the purse, you're supposed to go chase them down. If someone insults her, you're supposed to stand up for her. But she won't go ahead and obey you. That's crazy to me, right? And the example I always give a lot of the times, Donald Trump is the most powerful person right now in the world, right, as the president of the United States. And I find it interesting, when he was in Butler, Pennsylvania, and they shot at him, and he almost got assassinated, he wanted to stay there. He rises up, puts his fist in the air, and he says, fight, fight, fight. He didn't want to leave, right? We all know that Donald Trump has a little bit of an ego, right, which successful men typically have that mindset. He didn't want to leave, but guess what? Secret Service dragged him off. Why? Because even though he's the most powerful man in the world, he still needs to adhere to the people that are responsible for his safety. So they tell him, no, you're leaving, and they pulled him out of there. So if the people that are responsible for protecting the most powerful man in the world dictates the role of, hey, you need to leave, well, it should be the same way with the man with his wife, right, or his girlfriend. If I tell a girl, and I'm dating her, and I care about her, and I tell her, hey, look, I don't want you going to the club with your girlfriends, or hey, I don't want you going out after a certain time. Well, some women will sit there and say, well, that's controlling, that's insecure. Well, what's more insecure? Me being scared of telling you the truth because you might leave me, or me telling you what you need to hear and not necessarily what you want to hear for your own safety? I would argue the person that tells her what needs to be said is actually very secure because I don't give a fuck what you think. You're not going outside at this time. Well, what the fuck? That's insecure. Well, look, I'm telling you what it is. If you walk out that door, you're single. And you'd be amazed at how many women would actually respect that and say, you know what? I'm going to sit my ass inside. Because the reality is women like to test you sometimes, and they want to see if can you stand up to their bullshit. Right? They do it all the time. So, and it works in her benefit because now she feels safe. She's with you. You don't got to worry about anything. But sometimes you got to be able to put your foot down with women, even though society tells you not to do that and it's insecure or toxic or controlling. The only thing that's controlling here is me being in control of my life, which means I need a woman that's going to follow my lead, not a woman that's going to come in and create a bunch of pandemonium and do whatever she feels like. Because when women do stupid shit, they hurt us. I'll give you guys an example. I'm sure you guys remember roughly 2 years ago? Will Smith, legendary actor, sitting at a red table. with his wife, right? And guess what happens? She goes ahead and says some stupid shit. Oh, I had a, what's the term? An entanglement, right? I had an entanglement. And in that instant, bam, career gone. Nobody remembers iRobot. Nobody remembers I Am Legend. Nobody remembers Men in Black. Nobody remembers Independence Day. Nobody remembers Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Nothing. All I remember seeing was Will Smith sitting at a table with red eyes on the verge of tears from his woman embarrassing him on TV. And he still hasn't recovered. He still hasn't recovered. Then he had the slap with Chris Rock. And I give you guys that example to show you that a man with a background like Will Smith, who's literally a legend in music and entertainment and acting and movies and TV shows, this guy's a legend. But his legacy has been tarnished because what? A stupid bitch that wanted to be a whore. And this is what I mean when I tell guys, right? That's facts. You know? Bro went from I Am Legend to I Am Simp. Like, what's going on here? So this is what I mean. If a woman like that could destroy Will Smith's legacy, what the fuck do you think is going to happen to you guys? Right? Will Smith can't even save himself from these whores. Shannon Sharp just got accused yesterday. Literally yesterday. Some woman trying to shake him down for $50 million. Right? Now, gladly enough, I do see that there's quite a bit of criticism and people questioning this woman's character and her potentially lying. But I think it's important for you guys to understand that she would not make a baseless and ridiculous accusation like that had we not been living in this crazy gynocentric society where we have this believe all women mindset, right? We have women coming after Brett Kavanaugh. We have women coming after Andrew Tate with the whole thing out of California. Chick said, oh, I got slapped. And you look at her face and she has literally two of the same identical marks, which come from surgery, not from getting slapped, right? It's not like Andrew was like, hey, bitch, put your face this way, and then smack her, and then, okay, do it right here. I got to get a perfect degree. Smack her again perfectly. Like, no, bro. But the reason why women feel okay with making these wild accusations and lying on men with this Me Too era is because they know they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. And then on top of that, if they fail, are they going to jail? No. The Johnny Depp case proved this, right? Thankfully, right? Johnny Depp recorded the conversations, which he had to do illegally, by the way. He recorded the conversations and proved that this woman was batshit fucking crazy. Quite literally batshit crazy, shitting on beds and stuff. So, you know, thankfully, he had that evidence and he was able to prove that he was innocent. But what did he have to do? He had to take her to trial. He had to go take it all the way through, spent millions of dollars on a legal team, lost millions of dollars with the Pirates of the Caribbean series, lost a bunch of sponsorships. His reputation was destroyed for a period of time. So he basically he was guilty and then he had to prove himself innocent. And that's kind of the society we're in. If a woman makes an accusation, they believe her. Now, with that said, I want to be very clear about this. Sexual assault and rape are very serious crimes and the people that perpetrate them need to go to jail, right? I'm a firm believer that women need to be protected. But at the same time, we also need to penalize the women that literally do this for monetary benefit and lie, right? We saw it happen with Kobe Bryant. We saw it happen with so many different powerful individuals where the women are kind of suing to get a payday. And now what's going on with Shannon Sharp is just, another example. He announces he's going to get a $100 million podcast deal, and then like the next day or two, she's over here going to the biggest clout chase lawyer, Busby or whatever his name is, who's representing a bunch of other people. He represented the chick that made the accusation against Jay-Z. He's representing the chick that made the accusation against Andrew Tate. Like, this guy's just trying to get a dollar because he knows a lot of the times famous men that have a status are going to settle, right? They're going to want to, I don't want to deal with this. They're going to just settle. So, but she would not have mounted that attempt, this like literally shameless attempt to make money, had it not been for the current environment that we have now, where we have this, gynocentric society where women are always right, men are always wrong, women can do whatever they want, but men are held to static standards, and it's just ridiculous. So my thing is this. I think men need to become men. I think men need to be the leaders, and quite frankly, if a woman doesn't want to follow you, all right, cool, you stay single, but we're not going to sit here and tolerate the fuckery for women. And I think a lot of guys need to learn this skill set because a lot of guys think, well, if I just be a nice guy, be a traditional guy, like girls are going to like me. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not 1955, it's 2025, and women have changed quite a bit. So you have to adapt to the new normal. So this is why, I wrote the book, Why Women Deserve Less, where I talk about how feminism has kind of come in and completely switched the sexual marketplace where being a nice guy is actually detrimental for you. It'll get you put in a very bad predicament a lot of the times. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can get destroyed because if you get married as a man in today's day and age, you take way more risk on, right? We know that women win 90% plus of child custody battles. We know 90% of alimony goes to women. We know women initiate 80% of the divorces. So if you go ahead and get married, you got a lot to lose, especially if you're an individual with a higher net worth. So guys need to really go in with their eyes wide open, because women will divorce you and destroy your life if they just get bored, right? I have a saying, women will sacrifice their family for happiness, but men will sacrifice their happiness for their family, right? Because we understand that there's a burden of performance. From the time we're little boys, what do they say? Hey, become successful so you can go ahead and take care of a family, right? We're told this from the time we're young. So we always understood from a young age that we needed to not just be able to provide for ourselves, but have excess resources to be able to support a family. So, but we don't tell little girls to be good wives. We tell them, oh yeah, you could do everything a man could do. You could be an astronaut or whatever, and some of these girls end up being astronauts for real on fucking OnlyFans, but that's a whole other conversation. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I think guys need to understand that this is the new normal that we're in, and you need to adapt. Does that mean treat women like shit? No. But what I am saying is that you absolutely need to make women earn your time, attention, and resources.